1978. A street performer stands on a Milan sidewalk. She's dressed in black, face painted white, performing mime for strangers, collecting coins in a hat. She has a PhD in political science. She's a card-carrying member of the Italian Communist Party. She distributes flyers at protests, fights for women's rights, and she just inherited a luxury leather goods company on the edge of bankruptcy. One store left, no customers, no future. But here's the crazy part. 40 years later, that communist street mime is worth $4.8 billion. Her company is worth over $20 billion. And she's one of the most powerful women in fashion. This is the story of Miuccia Prada, a woman who never wanted to be in fashion, who fought against capitalism while inheriting a capitalist empire, who turned military tent fabric into the most coveted handbags in the world. So how did a communist mime save one of Italy's oldest luxury brands? Maria Bianchi was born on May 10, 1949, in Milan, Italy. Her grandfather, Mario Prada, founded Fratelli Prada in 1913, a luxury leather goods shop in the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. They sold steamer trunks to Italian royalty and aristocrats, but Maria's mother, Luisa, ran the company. And by the 1970s, it was dying. One store remained selling imported English trunks to a shrinking clientele. The brand was irrelevant. Forgotten, young Maria had zero interest in fashion. She wanted to change the world. She attended the University of Milan, studied political science, became radicalized, joined the Italian Communist Party. She distributed flyers at demonstrations, fought for women's rights, championed feminism. In 1973, she earned a PhD in political science. Then she did something nobody expected. She enrolled at Teatro Piccolo in Milan. To study mime, for 5 years, Maria Bianchi performed as a mime. On streets, in theaters, living the artist life. She was brilliant, cerebral, and completely opposed to everything her family's business represented. Luxury, elitism, capitalism, everything Maria stood against. Then in 1978, her mother handed her the keys to Prada. One store, on the edge of bankruptcy, no design training, no business experience, nothing. Maria was 28 years old and she had a choice: let the family business die or try to save it. Maria took the name Miuccia Prada in the 1980s after being adopted by her aunt. When she took over Prada in 1978, the situation was dire. The brand hadn't evolved since 1913. It sold the same leather goods, the same steamer trunks, to the same aging customers. Milan was becoming the fashion capital of the world. Armani, Versace, Valentino, they were redefining Italian luxury. And Prada, a dusty relic. But Miuccia had something others didn't: a complete lack of respect for convention. She didn't care what luxury was supposed to be. She didn't care about tradition. In 1979, she made her first move. She designed a handbag, but not leather, not silk, not any material associated with luxury. Pocono nylon, the same industrial fabric used for military tents. Waterproof, utilitarian, ugly. She added a small triangular metal logo, gold clasp, nothing else. The bag cost $450. Expensive. Nylon fashion insiders laughed. A nylon bag for hundreds of dollars? Who would buy that? But Miuccia understood something profound. Luxury wasn't about materials. It was about ideas. The bag took years to catch on, but by 1985 it had become a phenomenon. Women in Milan and New York were obsessed. Supermodels carried them. Fashion editors fought to get them. The Prada nylon bag became a status symbol, not despite being nylon. Because of it, Miuccia had reinvented luxury. In 1988, Miuccia presented her first ready-to-wear collection. She described it as uniforms for the slightly disenfranchised. The clothes were the opposite of everything fashion was showing at the time. No bodycon dresses, no overt sexuality, no glamour. Instead, minimal, almost austere, clean lines, muted colors. Fashion critics called it ugly chic. Miuccia embraced the term. She wasn't trying to make women sexy, she was trying to make them think. Her designs featured awkward color combinations, weird proportions, deliberate imperfection, a skirt too long, a coat too boxy, a print slightly off. But women loved it because Prada wasn't selling beauty. It was selling intelligence. In 1992, Miuccia launched Miu Miu, named after her childhood nickname. It was a secondary line, younger, more playful, more experimental. While Prada was minimalist and intellectual, Miu Miu was eccentric and whimsical. By the 1990s, Prada had become a global powerhouse. The company acquired Jill Sander, Helmut Lang, Church & Co. Fendi stakes, Miuccia partnered with architects Rem Koolhaas and Herzog & de Meuron to design Prada stores, not shops, architectural experiences. In 2004, she and her husband Patrizio Bertelli launched Fondazione Prada, a contemporary art museum in Milan. Miuccia understood something others didn't. Fashion is culture, and Prada became more than a brand. It became a platform for ideas. Here's what makes Miuccia Prada fascinating. She was a communist who built a luxury empire. She was a feminist who sold $2,000 handbags. She hated fashion, but became one of its greatest designers. In interviews, Miuccia never hid these contradictions. She embraced them. "I was a communist, but I was from a wealthy family," she admitted. "I was a feminist, but I was interested in beauty." Her designs reflected this tension. Prada collections often included subtle commentaries on capitalism, consumerism, feminism, but she sold those commentaries for thousands of dollars. Critics called her a hypocrite. Miuccia called it reality. You can't change the system by refusing to participate. You change it from within. And in many ways, she did. Prada rejected traditional luxury markers. No logos everywhere, no overt branding. Instead, Prada was about understated intelligence, quiet power. By 2011, Prada SPA went public on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. IPO, $2.1 billion. The communist who distributed flyers on Milan streets was now running a publicly traded company. In 2020, Miuccia appointed Raf Simons as co-creative director of Prada. Equal responsibility, equal power. It was unprecedented. Most designers guard creative control, jealously. But Miuccia understood evolution requires collaboration. The Prada-Simons partnership reinvigorated the brand. Then in April 2025, Prada made its boldest move. The company acquired Versace for 1.25 billion euros. Versace, Italian glamour. Maximalism, the exact opposite of Prada. By 2025, Prada Group revenues hit 5.4 billion euros. A 17% increase, Miu Miu alone generated 1.23 billion euros in sales, 93% year-over-year growth. Today, Miuccia Prada is worth $4.8 billion. Forbes ranks her among the most powerful women in the world. She transformed a single failing store into a 20 billion euros luxury conglomerate. And she did it without compromising her vision. So here's what you need to understand about Miuccia Prada. She was the most unlikely fashion mogul in history. A communist, a mime, a PhD in political science, a feminist who hated the fashion industry. She inherited a business she never wanted in an industry she despised. And instead of running away, she revolutionized it. Miuccia proved something powerful. You don't have to love the system to change it. She brought intellectualism to an industry obsessed with beauty. She brought minimalism to an era of excess. She brought ideas to a world of image. Her greatest achievement wasn't creating beautiful clothes. It was redefining what luxury could mean. Before Miuccia, luxury was about displaying wealth, gold, logos, excess. After Miuccia, luxury became about subtlety, intelligence, taste. She turned industrial nylon into a status symbol. She made ugly desirable. She proved that fashion could be art. Today, when someone carries a Prada bag, they're not just carrying a handbag, they're carrying a philosophy, a rejection of obvious luxury, an embrace of intellectual elegance. The communist mime who never wanted to be in fashion became the woman who redefined it. That's not just irony, that's genius. If this story inspired you, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you never miss another unlikely billionaire success story. Drop a comment. What's more contradictory? A communist running a luxury brand, or a mime becoming a fashion icon? And check out our video on Coco Chanel for another revolutionary woman who changed fashion forever. Thanks for watching.